It's said that belly dancers move in mysterious ways. But what mysterious ways exactly? Let's have a look at the belly dance movement vocabulary. Hi, I'm Kashmir, and I've been dancing for a few years now, actually a few decades. And over that time, I've had a look at belly dance, what it is, what it isn't. And what I want to share with you today is what I think are the 7 characteristics of belly dance movement. Number 1, a shimmy. For me, a shimmy is a relaxed, continuous, smooth, driven movement in time to the music. You can shimmy just about any part of your body. The most common parts in belly dance is either your hips or your shoulders and or torso. The other end of the spectrum is the smooth undulations. An undulation is a smooth movement through multiple joints. You can do it with your arms and shoulders, but the most common one is actually with your spine. So you actually move one bone after the other in a very smooth, wavy manner. And then there's the sharp accents. Into this comes the hip drops, the hip lifts, the pushes, the pops. So you can do them on the hips. You can also do them to a certain extent on the chest as well. So you can lift to pop and all that sort of thing on your rib cage or your shoulders. There's also a number of smooth movements you can do that create paths through space. So these aren't like an undulation where you're actually going through joints, but you're actually looking more at the spatial tracing of a path. The simplest would be a circle, and the next simplest would probably be a figure 8. So a figure 8 is sort of 2 circles. The next thing that distinguishes belly dance from some other dance styles is that a lot of the work can be isolated. So when you're doing your hip shimmy, there should be nothing movement above the waist. However, in belly dance, we don't actually tend to go for perfect isolation. Perfect isolation is something you should be able to do, but in performance you need to soften it, otherwise you end up looking quite robotic. Next, you need to be able to layer all these bits and pieces. So you're doing a beautiful smooth figure 8 with your hips, and you're shimmying it at the same time. This layering depends on the music. The more complex the music, the more complex your layering is. Finally, arms and hands. In belly dance, as a rule, we don't dance with our arms and hands, and that is really difficult because what we need to be able to do is make our arms and hands look natural. One of the hardest things to do is look natural and not do anything. Now, what I've been talking about here is the movement vocabulary. Belly dance movement vocabulary is not the same thing as belly dance. So practice your vocabulary, and then the next step is to actually become a belly dancer. If you want to learn belly dance, I would recommend finding a local teacher, especially if you're new at it, because you need to be not only shown the movements, but corrected. Often a beginner just doesn't understand what their body is doing and they can't see where they're going wrong. Yes, you can learn on the internet, but for most people that will mean picking up some really bad habits and probably not realizing it. Then if you want to later become better with your technique, the first thing you're going to have to do is to unlearn all your bad habits, which may take as long as you were practicing to start with. Find a teacher, go out there and practice lots.